Start the class. Hey, good day, everybody. Welcome back to our Genesis class, live from Jerusalem with Rabbi Chaim Goldberg of the Noahide World Center. Always an interesting and thought-provoking class, so let's just jump right in and see how the rabbi's doing today. Shalom, Rabbi Goldberg. So good to be with you as always. We look forward to hearing what you have to share. And thanks for those links last week. I read the one on the Rambam. Beautiful material.
Exactly. Good evening, everybody from Jerusalem. Good to see you all. Thank you very much for coming, for attending. As I just started to explain, first of all, today we had a very big, what we call Beitin, people who declared and became a formal Noahide. We had more than 30 people in the Spanish from the South America side, and we had also another 11 people from Russia. So it was, inspiring. So this is one thing. And one of the things that is really, I will say, bothering me is that while in the South America side, we see that they are gathering together, they're managing to unite themselves, they're managing to speak from different countries. In each country, they're doing some sort of a group, and then they're also speaking between the countries. And they're managing to do something very togetherness, okay? Just like God is one, the unity of God, so they're trying. In the United States, we feel that people are very break down to different groups, United States.
Yeah.
So we are trying lately to gather the groups together and to try to speak with them and to see how we can work one with each other. And we understand that there are differences between the groups, between the people, between the approaches, whatever it is. But still, we must find a way of working together. So they didn't finish it, but I went outside because I have commitment to this class. So I went out in the middle of a very interesting discussion that we had, but I will catch it later. And I will tell you, by the way, that we're trying to do the same thing in England. And we are now working very hard with the rabbis in England to acknowledge them that there is also this thing of the Noahide, and that they want, and that they will cope with us about this. And then we'll manage to have more and more in all sorts of places. So we're speaking this weekend, hopefully, we're speaking with the big Beit Din in London, and also with the chief rabbi of England. So we're trying very hard in those places. I don't need to tell you, but in Europe, in South America, and other places, people are much more togetherness. Hopefully, we will manage. So it's okay. We're also moving very fine, very great steps in the site itself. So with the translations to other languages, whatever it is. So this is more or less a bit of the news that we have in the that are related to all of us. Let's dive inside and learn. Again, we are in a preparation. This coming Friday night, Israel time, is the time that God gave us the Torah, the Ten Commandments. And we are in the middle of preparation of those things. I sent also the link of the how to speak. How is the exact way to speak? And today I want to speak about something a bit else that is related very much to this thing of the Ten Commandments and the Mount Sinai event, and what it is telling us exactly, and things like that. So with your permission, we can start. And again, as usual, don't be shy. If there are questions or something, so please feel comfortable. Because at the end, I'm finding myself that you're not asking anything, and only the cat of Angela and Mike are going around there and asking questions. It's a problem. We need to have also your questions. Fair enough. Let's start. I'm starting with let's share the screen and let's start. I'm starting with a note from our Parsha, what we read yesterday. Okay. Yesterday we read what we call, we started the fourth book of the Hebrew Bible, okay? And it's called Numbers, or Bamidbar in Hebrew. And in chapter 3, yes, it says there is a very weird, I will say, verses, okay? Please read the first two verses, will be enough.
Okay, verse 1. These are the descendants of Aaron and Moses on the day that the Lord spoke to Moses at Mount Sinai. These are the names of the sons of Aaron: Nadab, the firstborn, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar.
Where are the sons of Moses? Does anyone see the sons of Moses here? Again, in verse number 1, it says, those are the descendants, right, of Aaron and Moses. And the second verse, it says only the descendants of whom? Of Aaron. Also in 3 and 4, please read 3 and 4 also, please.
Verse 3.
What's the chapter number again, please?
Chapter 3 of Numbers.
Yeah, in chapter 3 of Numbers, yes.
These are the names, verse 3, these are the names of the sons of Aaron, the anointed Kohanim, whom he consecrated to serve as Kohanim. For Nadab and Abihu died before the Lord when they brought alien fire before the Lord in the Sinai desert, and they had no children. Eleazar and Ithamar, however, served as Kohanim in the presence of Aaron, their father.
Again, I'm asking a very simple question. In verse number 1, why are we mentioning Moses if we're not going to speak about his sons?
Because these were the Kohanim.
They're not Kohanim.
The sons of Moses. Okay, fair enough. So don't say to me that those are the descendants of Aaron and Moses. Those are the descendants of Aaron.
Rabbi, I got a comment from online. Robin Barney says, didn't they get sent away with his wife?
They came back in just before the Ten Commandments. We know that they came back, and they were also in the era of the Ten Commandments. We'll return back here, okay, in a moment. I know what, I'll open it in another window. Let's remind ourselves, okay, in Exodus chapter 19. This is a chapter before the Ten Commandments. In a moment, I will show this to you. Chapter 18, 2 chapters before. Please read. You can read it in the first 5 verses, please. No, right.
Start in verse 1. Now
1
Moses,
to 5, yes, please.
Now Moses' father-in-law, Jethro, the chieftain of Midian, heard all that God had done for Moses and for Israel, his people, that the Lord had taken Israel out of Egypt. 2 verse. So Moses, his father-in-law, Jethro, took Zipporah, Moses' wife, after she had been sent away. 3. And her 2 sons, one of whom was named Gershom, because he, Moses, said, I was a stranger in a foreign land. 4. And one who was named Eleazar, because Moses said, the God of my father came to my aid and rescued me from Pharaoh's sword.
And in verse number 5, it says very loud and clear.
Now Moses' father-in-law, Jethro, and Moses' sons and his wife came to Moses to the desert where he was encamped, to the mountain of Hashem.
And 2 chapters after that, this is chapter 18. If we will jump to chapter 20, okay, we will see that this is 10 commandments. Okay, so we can't say, now we see before the 10 commandments, we have this thing that the sons of Moses came. So the notes in the chat box, okay, it's not related to this thing. We're speaking about the days that God spoke with Moses in Mount Sinai. The kids of Moses already with him. And I don't understand why in this verse he is showing or is saying, expressing about the kids of Aaron and Moses without speaking about the kids of Moses. The question is clear, right? Everybody understand the question. So we need to give an answer. We need to give an answer. There's a very simple answer for that. Much simpler than you think. For doing it fast a bit, okay, that it will be clear, we can go to all of the resources of Rashi, but let's learn Rashi for a moment. Rashi will be enough. Please, please read this far.
Rashi says, these are the descendants of Moses and Aaron, yet only the sons of Aaron are mentioned. However, they are considered descendants of Moses because he taught them Torah. This teaches us that whoever teaches Torah to the son of his fellow man, Scripture regards it as if he had begotten him.
Very simple. You see, the answer, I will remember that always. A good answer is even better than the question. Why are we calling them? We're calling the sons of Aaron, we're calling also the sons of Moses. Why? Because Moses taught them Torah. He taught them how to live. He taught them the connection with God. And everyone who is teaching someone else the Torah is also some sort of a spiritual father for this guy, for the one that he taught him. Guy, girl, whatever it is. Now you will tell me, come on, this is only for the Jews. Only the Jews, it's going like that, whatever it is. So let's jump for a moment to something that we've learned already a few times. And let's go to the Genesis in chapter 12. And let's read for a moment. Verses 4 and 5.
4.
Please.
And Abram went as the Lord had spoken to him, and Lot went with him, and Abraham was 75 years old when he left Haran. And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their possessions that they had acquired, and the souls they had acquired in Haran. And they went to go to the land of Canaan, and they came to the land of Canaan.
The Hebrew term of acquired is that they made them. They did souls. They created souls. And the question is very simple, okay? And again, let's read Rashi. We read it already more than once, but let's read it again. Please read it here.
And the souls they had acquired in Haran, whom he had brought under the wings of the Shekinah. Abraham would convert the men, and Sarah would convert the women. And Scripture ascribes to them a merit as if they had made them, from Genesis Rabbah 39:14. Hence the expression that they made. The simple meaning of the verse is the slaves and the maidservants that they had acquired for themselves, as in the verse below in 31:1, he acquired all this wealth, an expression of acquisition. Numbers 24:18. And Israel acquires, an expression of acquiring and gathering.
Fair enough. So we have here two explanations. The first one that Rashi brings, it's not the simplest one, but it's telling us that not only when a Jewish person is teaching another Jewish person the Torah, so he's becoming his father, okay, but also that when someone is teaching non-Jewish people, okay, in this point of time, Abraham wasn't a Jewish person, he wasn't a Hebrew person, but he wasn't a Jewish it's even before he was declared by God to become the main person. So also for non-Jewish people who are learning or teaching one each other, it's also the same thing. And then he's also saying to us, actually, when you buy someone that is going to become your slave, so this is the word acquired. But those are two, I will say it like that, those are two explanations of two sides of the same coin. When you're buying someone that is becoming your slave, basically you're also putting him under your, I will say, umbrella. And if you're a person who believes in God and knows how to behave in the right way, so you're also teaching your slave, the people that around you, that among you, that you're controlling, the right way of behavior. Now, The meaning of this is that basically a person who is not, I will say, going according to the Torah, is not really still alive. I will call it like that. He's not really alive. What is the difference between him and an animal? Okay, he's functioning like an animal. He's functioning on the same level of an animal. Maybe he's also a very moral person, but he doesn't have any acknowledgement of God in his life. So this is where he lost everything. Now, we have something very interesting with this thing. We have, I will call it like that. When Moses, let's jump now. Let's go. So first point that we've learned, that when someone is teaching someone else the ideas of the Torah or the learning of the Torah, regardless if he's a Jew teaching Jew, non-Jew is teaching non-Jew, or non-Jew is teaching Jew, or a Jew is teaching non-Jew, okay? It's very important. It's bringing life. It's bringing meaning, some meaning to the one that is teaching. So the one to the one that is learning. So the one that is teaching is also being called, like we saw in the verse there in Numbers, is called the father of, okay? Those are descendants of Aaron, Moses. Fair enough. But I want to go one step ahead. And I'm asking to go to Deuteronomy and see two verses, okay? Let's go first of all to here. We have here a very famous part of the Bible, of the Hebrew Bible. You know,
Verse
we all
4.
know this.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one.
And then we have how exactly to refer or to have, what are the relationships that we have with God. And let's read for a moment 5, 6, and 7, please.
5. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your means. 6. And these words which I commanded you this day shall be upon your heart, and you shall teach them to your sons and speak them when you sit in your house and when you walk on the way and when you lie down and when you rise up.
Fair enough. But what is one of the things that you need to do? To teach them to your sons, right? Very important. Moses is telling us, teaching us, but one of the things that we have an obligation to teach the things of God, to teach the Torah to our sons. Fair enough. Moses is going saying this also in chapter 11. If you want, okay, let's jump for a moment to chapter 11 and we'll see it also there. Oh, no, I'm sorry, my mistake. Deuteronomy 11. Excellent. Please read verse number 19.
19. And you shall teach them to your sons to speak with them when you sit in your house and when you walk on the way and when you lie down and when you rise.
So we're speaking here that there is some sort, I will say, of a commandment to teach the next generation. Father is supposed to teach his son, right? Let me show you something that's a bit unique. First, we need to understand that. To understand that, let me jump for a moment to the ethics of the father, okay? And let me teach one of the ethics. Yes, ethics of the fathers. And let me teach you something in a bit different way, that it's not, I will say, we need chapter 2. Where's chapter 2 here? It is. Let's go to chapter 2. In chapter 2, in number 8, we can learn a lot about this marvelous book, amazing book, okay? Please read in Mishnah
Number 8.
please. Yes.
Rabbi Yochanan, the son of Zakkai, received the tradition from Hillel and Shammai. He would say, if you have learned much Torah, do not take credit for yourself. It is for this that you have been formed.
So first of all, the simplest thing that he's saying here is that if you learn Torah, don't take credit. This is the most simplest understanding of what is being said here. Don't take credit. Now, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, we know that he knew all the Torah. Okay, I won't go inside. This in Masechet Sukkah, in the Babylon Talmud, it's expressing a bit. He knew everything. He really knew everything. He was at the days of the destroyment of the second temple, and he went to Yavne. He was a giant in Torah. He was really a giant in Torah. Fair enough. But in the Hebrew word, it doesn't say, do not take credit for yourself. It says something else. It says, Al tachzik tova le'atzmecha. Again, the simplest explanation is don't take credit to yourself. But here in the Hebrew, it's also a bit of a, I will say, double understanding or double meaning of this term. Al tachzik tova le'atzmecha. The Torah is being called a good, okay? Lekach tov natati lachem tov. I gave you something good, okay? And what it says in English, I will say it now in different translation, but it's very exact translation, okay? Don't hold the goodness to yourself. If you've learned Torah, don't hold this goodness only for yourself. Teach others. This is why you were born. If you are the one that learned a lot of, exactly. It's not only don't take the credit for yourself. Okay, I've learned a lot. This is the simplest explanation, but there is also another meaning here. Don't hold this goodness only for yourself. Teach others. Teach your kids. And this is what we saw with Moses, right? Now we're starting to realize it. So it's not only that Moses, he taught the sons of Aaron, so this is why they're calling him also the father of those kids. It also was part of his obligation to teach others. I know Torah, I need to teach. I know the good, I need to spread it over. One of the emails that we're sending for those who are becoming Noahide, formerly Noahide, a lot of times we see that people are feeling, I must spread this goodness to others. And they're starting to get to a lot of problems with friends and families. We're saying to them, you don't believe in Jesus anymore? You're crazy. We don't want to speak with you. And we're saying to them, look, do it in the right way. But people are feeling, in their inside that they must spread the word outside. And it's true. I know I'm in the part of the goodness of God. I want to spread it out. Al tachzik tova le'atzmecha. Teach others. Teach your kids. So till now, we said, we'll say a few important things that are teaching us, I will say, the right attitude with this thing of learning Torah. But I want to go one step ahead, with your permission, as usual. I want to go one step ahead, a bit more profound. So let's go back let's go back. Now we will go to Deuteronomy, okay? And let's go to chapter, I think it's 4 or 5. It's a mistake. Sorry. Okay, here it is. Excellent. Please read for a moment verses 2 to 5.
Verse 2, the Lord our God made a covenant with us in Horeb. 3, not with our forefathers did the Lord make this covenant, but with us, we, all of whom are here alive today. 4, face to face the Lord spoke with you at the mountain out of the midst of the fire. 5, and I stood between the Lord and you at that time to tell you the word of the Lord, for you were afraid of the fire, and you did not go up on the mountain, saying,
and I am the Lord, and here coming the 10 Commandments. So this is an opening for the 10 Commandments that is being written down in Deuteronomy. We have the 10 Commandments twice in the Bible. First when it happened in Exodus, and the second time when Moses is describing again the 10 Commandments to the Israeli people before they're going inside to the promised land after 40 years. And he's saying, face to face, God spoke with you. This is what we said last week, by the way, that the meaning of us, the ability of speaking, is not that we know how to say words one with each other. The ability of speaking is the will that I have inside. We're speaking face to face. I have a personality. I'm not something. I'm a person, and I have something. I'm a person who have my will, and I want to pass it to you. And you're also a person that you have a will, and I'm listening to you. So we're speaking face to face. God is giving with us His will, and this is the Ten Commandments and all of the Torah. But here we have something very interesting that is continuing us, and maybe it's chapter before that. Just a moment. No, this is chapter 4, I think. Oh, please read verse number 9. This is the preparation for the 10 commandments that Moses is going to tell us. Please read verse number 9.
Verse number 9, but beware and watch yourself very well, lest you forget the things that your eyes saw, and lest these things depart from your heart all the days of your life, and you shall make them known to your children and to your children's children.
Oops. Till now we spoke only about the children's. Now suddenly we're saying, not only for the children's, the Mount Sinai era, the occasion of Mount Sinai that God spoke with us face to face, we need not only to teach to the children, but to whom also we're supposed to teach? The grandchildren's. You with me? This is the only time in the Bible that it says that you need to teach not only your children, but also your grandchildren. It says, Moses is saying it about the Ten Commandments, about Mount Horeb, about what we're going to mention on this coming Friday, that it happened then, okay? But from here, our sages are telling us that you're always supposed to teach not only your kids, but also your grandkids. So you need really not only to, not just to hold all this goodness to yourself, you need to teach it, not only to the next generation, but also for the generation after that. So first of all, it's reminding me a story that I think I said it here 2 years or 3 years ago about a famous senator. It was in the early 60s in the United States. And there was one senator who was supposed to go from one side of the United States to the other side. You know, you can go on a train and it's few days, and then you have few different cabins. One of the cabins on the train, if you're going from Washington to Los Angeles, so it's something like 7 days of a ride on the train. And there are cabins that you're getting also a place to sleep, very large cabins. And there are cabins, in the back area of the train that you're just sitting down or whatever it is. And there was this one senator, it's a true story. It was famous. It was very famous in the 60s of last century. A senator was on the train, and also some sort of a Jewish person with a long white beard. And both of them were in the front cabin, in the most, important cabin. And to the Jewish person, all the time, his kids, his grandkids, all the time came to him. They spoke with him, they've learned with him, they played with him, check, whatever it is. And after 3 days like that they're traveling, in the middle of the United States on the train, so the senator asked this rabbi or this Jewish person, he said to him, look, my family is also on the other side of the train, but they're not coming to me, okay? Your family is all the time coming to you. What is the difference? Why are they coming to you and they're not coming to me? So the Jewish rabbi told him, he said to him back, he answered him like that. He said to him, look, we believe that our forefathers met God face to face. Now, each generation is getting further or getting very far from the first generation who met God face to face. So each generation is trying to speak with their generation up on top of them, with their parents and also with the grandparents, as we see here in this verse. The problem is that you believe that man came from the monkey. So nobody wants to speak with the generations before. Okay, I think that we said it once, but this is mainly what is said here, what is being expressed here. The Mount Sinai event was so important, was so different with this relation with God. So we are trying to go onwards, not only to the parents' side, but also to the grandparents, to get closer as much as we can. And this is what's written down here. You need to tell to your children, also to your children's children. Okay, we also expanding this to the rest of the everything in the Torah that you need to teach others. But I want to go now and to see for a moment. First of all, if there are any questions till now, it's okay. If not, I want to continue on to explain a bit the uniqueness of this event of Mount Sinai. And I'm saying this from time to time, but I want to show the source. I want to explain, I want to read together the Maimonides and to understand what exactly is being, what happened in the event of Mount Sinai. Okay, so for that, let's go to the, we need to move from here to the Mishnah Torah. Yes. It's the foundations. You know, the Mishnah Torah is being 1,000 chapters, so it's a part of the foundation. The Talmud Torah. Let's go here. Okay, the beginning is Sefer Hamada, and this is all the foundations things. Okay, that we have. You see, Yesodei Torah is the foundation of the Torah. Okay. Let's see if I found it. Hey, look, punk. This is it. Fair enough. Let's read step by step. Okay. The first paragraph. I'm here in Yesodei Torah. Okay. This is the beginning. This is Yesodei Torah in English. The meaning Yesodei Torah. It's a word in Hebrew. The meaning of this in English, the foundation of the Torah. Okay. There's 10 chapters, are very important chapters. And in one of the chapters, he's speaking about the event of Mount Sinai. And this is where what we're going to learn now. So please read the first paragraph, and then we will continue every paragraph. I need to say a few words after every paragraph. So please.
All right, the first paragraph. The Jews did not believe in Moses, our teacher, because of the wonders that he performed. Whenever anyone's belief is based on wonders, the commitment of his heart has shortcomings because it is possible to perform a wonder through magic or sorcery.
Go to America, have a talent. Go to England, have a talent show, and you will find a lot of miracles, a lot of tricks, a lot of ideas. Are they aliens, those people? No. Maybe even they have some sort of a different souls, you know, it's not only tricks. They have also other things that they do. But this is not the reason why we believed in Moses. And Moses did a lot of tricks. Think about this for a moment. Nobody really saw God. When all of the water in Egypt became blood, nobody saw God. Everybody saw Moses. Everybody saw the people around. Everybody saw that Moses is saying it's going to be blood, and it became blood. By the way, it was Aaron, it wasn't Moses. Okay? But no one really saw God in front of him. We know that God did it. Okay? When Aaron is saying that now the frog is going to be to cover all over Egypt, nobody saw God or something. But they saw a lot of miracles, a lot of all sorts of things, magic things that Moses did. They admired him. They felt that he's very that he have some sort of a relation. He said all the time, I'm speaking with God who created the world. But, you know, people didn't saw God. We never saw God, okay? He spoke with us, it's like face to face, but we never saw God in the face. So they didn't believe in Moses because of that. So let's go to the second paragraph, please.
All of the wonders performed by Moses in the desert were not intended to serve as proof of the legitimacy of his prophecy, but rather were performed for a purpose. It was necessary to drown the Egyptians, so he split the sea and sank them in it. When we needed food, so he provided us with manna. We were thirsty, so he split the rock, providing us with water. Korach's band mutinied against him, so the earth swallowed them up. The same applies to the other wonders.
Moses did a lot of wonders. Every time we asked him why or what happened, he said, God told me to do that. Okay, he didn't refer them to himself. This is one of the differences with Moses. Fair enough. But all of those things didn't brought the Hebrew people to believe in Moses. They understood that he is a very powerful person. They saw him as a messenger for what God promised us, that someone will come and take us to the promised land. But they didn't believe in him, and they didn't say that because of that, he is now, the most important prophet here. They even had a lot of doubts about the prophecy. Now, what we're going to learn now, and it's very important, it's the question of the beginning. I will say it like that. If we will go, for example, to the United States, and we will ask ourselves, when or how exactly it happened that we have today all the laws and exactly how to do the elections to decide who is going to be a senator and who is not going to be a senator. Now, the first, I will say, senators that were elected, they were elected differently than the rest of the system. The first time, somehow they nominated themselves, people nominated them, and then they decided all the structure, how you're going to do all the elections every 4 years. Same thing happened with England, same thing happened everywhere. The first time, it's not like always. After the first time, they are nominating something. Now we're asking ourselves, Moses is the first one that we decided to stick with him. What brought him to this level of certainty that we decided that we are going to believe in him and we're not going to move, even if Jesus will come, okay? And will tell us, no, we need to change it. By the way, it wasn't Jesus who said that we need to change things. It was Petrus 300 years after him, but we're not going to go inside to this, okay? Please. The only thing I want to show now is what happened, I'll say it, in the beginning that gave us the framework from now on how to work. So please read the next paragraph.
The third paragraph. What is the source of our belief in him? The revelation at Mount Sinai. Our eyes saw and not a stranger's. Our eyes heard and not another's. There was fire, thunder, and lightning. He entered the thick clouds. The voice spoke to him, and we heard. Moses go tell them the following.
I must say that, first of all, let's explain what's happening here, and then I will fix a bit the end of this paragraph, okay? Because I said to you already that unfortunately, the Chabad translation is still stick with a translation that was with a lot of changes of the Christian people that changed things. But let's go step by step. First of all, we saw one of the things that we saw in Mount Sinai, and this is what is written down here, that God spoke with Moses, and God told us that Moses is going to be his messenger. This was the beginning. God defined Moses as a messenger of God. He is the most, I will say, strong messenger of God. All the rest of the prophets are going to have their strength from Moses. And it's not the exact thing that is being said here. Moses must go tell them the following. Let me find for a moment the verse exactly that is being quoted by the Maimonides. It's okay, it's okay. It is Deuteronomy 5:27. Let's go for a moment to Deuteronomy 5:27. And let's read it. So let's go. Deuteronomy 5. Sorry. We saw this a moment ago, okay? We saw this that we read a moment ago, that God spoke with us face to face, now without seeing him. We didn't saw anything. And the 10 Commandments here. And we were very frightened because of the fire and because of everything here. And let's go now to verse number
27.
Yes, but before that, you see, please read 20 and 21.
20. And it was when you heard the voice from the midst of the darkness, and the mountain was burning with fire, that you approached me, all the heads of your tribes and your elders, and you said, Behold, the Lord our God has shown us his glory and his greatness, and we heard his voice from the midst of the fire. We saw this day that God speaks with man, yet man remains alive.
And so now, why should he die? Therefore, God is saying to him, okay, and God, the Lord, right, he heard the sound of the words of the Israeli people, and he's saying to them,
Go to them, return to your tents.
To them to return to their tents. And we all hear that. Look, read verse number 28.
But as for you, stand here with me, and I will speak to you all the commandments, the statutes, and the ordinances which you will teach them, that they may do them in the land which I give them to possess.
We heard that God is saying to Moses that he is going to be the messenger. This is what we've heard. Not only that we saw that God spoke with us, we also have heard that Moses is going to be the one that is going to learn all those commandments and to teach us. Therefore, the next understanding of that is that the Torah can't be replaced, can't be changed. It could change for, a specific, unique something for a moment, like Eliyahu did in Mount Carmel. He did something that is unacceptable in the Torah, but he did it once for something to teach the people. That's it. So this is something that you have the possibility of doing it. But the main thing, the main hardcore of the Torah is not going to be changed, because we've heard that God said to us that Moses and what he's giving us is forever. Let's read it again, the Maimonides. This is what is being said here. Moses, go and tell them the following, go and teach them what I have to say. Please read it again, please.
Yeah. What is the source of our belief in him? The revelation at Mount Sinai, our eyes saw and not a stranger's, our eyes heard and not another's. There was fire, thunder, and lightning. He entered the thick clouds. The voice spoke to him, and we heard. Moses, go tell them the following.
Go and tell them the Torah. So this is the strict Torah that we have. We can't move from this Torah. Okay, now let's continue on. Please, the next two parts.
How is it known that the revelation...
No, you skipped.
Thus, in Deuteronomy 5:4 relates, face to face God spoke to you, and Deuteronomy 5:3 states, God did not make this covenant with our fathers, but with us who are alive, all here alive today.
And now, please continue the last part.
How is it known that the revelation at Mount Sinai alone is proof of the truth of Moses' prophecy that leaves no shortcoming? From Exodus 19:9 states, Behold, I will come to you in a thick cloud, so that the people will hear me speaking to you, so that they will believe in you forever. It appears that before this happened, they did not believe in him with a faith that would last forever, but rather with a faith that allowed for suspicions and doubts.
So there are two things here. First of all, there is some sort of a belief with suspicions and doubts. But more than that, now that we've heard that God said to us that he is going to be the messenger, so now we have a stage, or we came to a situation where it's forever, this Torah. You're asking yourself, how come we were for 2,000 years in an exile and we didn't move, we sticked with this Torah without changing it? Because we had this Mount Sinai. in our background. Okay. Now there is some sort of a way how exactly to adjust things to life. Okay, there are things that are much more strict. There are ways how the oral Bible is working to adjust things with life. Fair enough, because things are changing along history. But there is the rules that Moses taught us, and we are very strict with the Torah that we have. And now we can jump for a moment to the end of what we call the Mishneh Torah. Okay, let's go for a moment to the end of the Mishneh Torah. Let's see where it is. Let's go down in Sefer Shoftim, last book. See, and we're going to Melachim u'Milchamot. Sorry, this is the last one. Okay, Melachim and Milchamot, and we have here something very interesting. But we've learned it already also more than once, but now we're starting to understand it in a, I will say, in a much more profound way. Let's read for a moment Halacha 10. This is chapter, I showed the chapter, sorry, chapter 8, okay? Halacha 10. We've learned it. So let's read
did
it.
You get that chapter?
Chapter 8, Halacha 10.
Okay.
Melachim u'Milhamot.
Yes, exactly. It's kings and fights, and this is the end. Those are the last 4 chapters of this phenomenon.
Okay.
10,000 books, 10,000 chapters book. Yes, please.
10. Moses only gave the Torah and mitzvot as an inheritance to Israel, as Deuteronomy 33:4 states. The Torah is the inheritance of the congregation of Jacob, and to all those who desire to convert from among the other nations, as Numbers 15:15 states, the convert shall be the same as you. However, someone who does not desire to accept Torah and mitzvot should not be forced to.
This is a very big difference between the Hebrew nation and the Muslims, or with the Hebrew nation and the Christian. Okay, not everybody is supposed to be Jewish, okay, like the Christian or like the Muslims.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
it's not supposed to be forced to. But let's continue on.
By the same regard, Moses was commanded by the Almighty to compel all the inhabitants of the world to accept the commandments given to Noah's descendants. If one does not accept these commandments, he should be executed. A person who...
We're not doing this, okay? But and a concept, this is what it's supposed to be, okay? Please.
A person who formally accepts these commands is called a resident alien. This applies in any place. This acceptance must be made in the presence of 3 Torah scholars.
Anyone, and please continue.
Anyone who agrees to circumcise himself and allows 12 months to pass without circumcising himself is considered as one of the nations.
So he wants to circumcise himself and to become Jewish, and he's not doing this, so he's still non-Jewish. Fair enough. But what we see here, that everything is coming from, I will say, the power of Moses, that got it from whom? From God, with the 10 Commandments. Now we're starting to realize, and now we'll continue on and we will see the next thing, that we can do this because God said to us to do that, or we can do this because we are very smart people. Please read 11. Those are things that we've learned, but we can see this again.
11. Anyone who accepts upon himself the fulfillment of these 7 mitzvot and is precise in their observance is considered one of the pious among the Gentiles and will merit a share in the world to come. This applies only when he accepts them and fulfills them, because the Holy One, blessed be he, commanded them in Torah and informed us through Moses, our teacher, that Noah's descendants had been commanded to fulfill them previously. However, if he fulfills them out of intellectual conviction, he is not a resident alien, nor of the pious among the nations, nor of the wise men.
There again, this is not exactly the translation. The exact translation is saying that he is one of the wise people of the world, but the world to come, he's not accepting it from God, so he's not part of the world to come. But this let's not go inside to this at this point. The most important thing that I wanted to show here is that everything is starting with this, that we all saw that God spoke with Moses. God gave Moses, I will say, the stempel, the nomination to teach the Hebrew people and all of the nations the words of God. And the question is, are you doing those things because you want to be connected with God, or you're doing those things for yourself? Fair enough. And don't forget that everything is starting with this nomination that God gave Moses. So if I will summarize for a moment things that we've learned today, or things that we spoke today, we saw that it's very important, not when you're learning Torah, regardless if you're a Hebrew person, if you're a non-Hebrew person, you're Noahide, whatever it is. If you're learning these good things, don't hold this goodness for yourself. It's very important also to teach others. Okay, we saw that the Bible is saying or is stating that the one who is teaching others is becoming some sort of the spiritual circle or spiritual father of this person. And we have an obligation. We have an obligation, if we are lucky enough to learn those things, to teach others. We also realize that, I will say, the beginning of this is coming from some sort of a situation where the Hebrew people met God face to face, all of them, all of this big nation, and they heard that Moses is being nominated to bring the words of God to the Hebrew people and to all of the world. So this is giving the strength of this Torah. It's also with the oral Torah to adjust things, but there are rules how exactly to work through the sages of the Hebrew nation who are keeping this along all of the history. And this is how the structure of the things, starting with this event that we're going to celebrate this weekend with what we call Shavuot, the day or the night or the morning that God appeared in front of the Hebrew nation and gave them the Torah. We saw all of this inside the resources from the Bible, also from the Maimonides. Questions till now? We have Rabbi Shmuel is here. I'm sorry, Rabbi Shmuel. Maybe Rabbi Shmuel will add a few things, and then we have
supplement a few comments onto that point that the rabbi discussed. I think it's important when you're talking about Pentecost or the Festival of Weeks at the end of this coming weekend, that those Sevach and Noahide commandments which are indicated are things which should be very much ingrained in one's natural ethics. What Maimonides was saying, though, which is very important, what the rabbi was quoting, that even though thou shalt not steal, kill, kidnap, should respect other people, should not be involved in paganism, these are things which the natural intellect should comprehend. But the whole idea is that we believe in the concept of a revelation, that there was this special site, second to none at Sinai, which is the source which compels us to do this. And Maimonides says that an intellectual person ingrains that into a system, that there are different levels which are expected of different people. The very fact that the portion in the Bible which describes the revelation is actually written on the name of a person who wasn't born to the Jewish faith. And the special Megillah of Ruth is a woman who also was not born to the Jewish faith, essentially indicates that this is something which is shared by all of mankind. As the rabbi mentioned correctly, we do not have any support at all of missionary activity of any side to try to coerce people to get involved. Expected of different people. To the contrary, a person should have in his natural ethical standard that one should be decent to his wife, decent to society, will not steal or take advantage of other people. But it's also important to know that this is part of a revelation, part of a religious act that I'm doing, not only because my categorical ethics of Immanuel Kant would say I should, which is also something of value, which is true, but it also is a religious commandment to be that way. And therefore, when I would have a dilemma whether I should do A or B, I should know that the biblical request tells me to go ahead and do so. And interestingly enough, the portion deals a lot, including the Megillah, in gifts of the needy, because the word charity in Hebrew, tzedakah, comes to the word tzedek, and the word justice. And the concept, as I mentioned in one of my previous talks, of redistribution of wealth between the affluent and those who are less is a fundamental ethic, which is highlighted on the day of the revelation itself. And I'm sure the rabbi would highlight that in Israel itself, in the biblical times, the festival of weeks, Shavuot, is also a time when you bring your new fruit to Jerusalem and you're proud of your agricultural achievement, and you're saying to God, thank you for that as well. Meaning, we do not neglect the physicality when dealing with the revelation. We want to be proud as human beings in being committed. And that's something which is very central in our behavior, that actually on a day where we celebrate the revelation, we are doing so at the same time with not neglecting at all our physical pleasures, because the divine actually offered us these things that we can benefit from as well, and to make them of use to our lives, not to become somebody who escapes society or tries to live necessarily, also something which in Christianity is a little bit off the beaten track of living in a monastery and not getting married, etc. These are not our thoughts. We do believe of being part of a society, being part of a family, not living like Robinson Crusoe in the middle of nowhere, to be actually in the midst of society and to be proud to be sharing and caring for the others. That's what I think is central on this special day. So I want to convey that message too.
Excellent. Thank you, Rabbi Shmuel. I've been going through the Laws of Charity with Rabbi Shlomo Schwartz. We've been broadcasting those. We've still got a couple more chapters to go through. And one thing I've taken from it is that givers need to know their limits, because takers don't have any. And realistically, I mean, the laws of charity are so profound that it's something we should all be doing to help make society. It's like trying to run your car without oil. If you don't put oil in your car, it doesn't run very well, or it runs for a little while and then boom, blows up from overheating. And a lot of the problems in the world are because a lot of people aren't giving when they ought to. But sadly, it puts the additional burden on those that are willing. But some people need to know their limits when giving, and I find so far that how balanced they are, but how a profound an act charity should be. And thank you for pointing that out, Rabbi Shmuel. Anybody have any questions for the rabbis?
You've probably heard something that in the Hebrew language, one of the beautiful things about giving is it's a three-letter word in Hebrew that can be read either way, exactly the same. The letters, the first and third letters are the same letter, and the letter in between is like the word I in English. When I see eye to eye, there's an E in the beginning and there's an E at the end. In Hebrew, there's what they call the letter Nun in the beginning, at the end. Natan is to give. It means what I give to you, I'm giving back to myself. So there's no loss involved. Yeah. Any questions? With pleasure.
Everybody's quiet today. That's it. We managed to knock them off.
I have a question for you, Rabbi. Rabbi?
Jacob, you had a question?
Yes, Jacob, please.
When it says Ger Toshav B'kol Makom, Ger Toshav in every place, what does it mean?
It means that this is one of the big misunderstandings that there is with this term, okay? It means basically that you can be a righteous Yid everywhere that you live. You're not supposed to live only in Israel. People think that Ger Toshav is only if you live in Israel. It's not true. Ger Toshav Bechol Makom. You, in every place that you live in the world, you're righteous. You relate it to the spiritual cycle of the Hebrew nation. Okay, you relate it also with God. But it's not that you're supposed to live in Israel. The only people who have an obligation of living in Israel are the Hebrew people. And don't ask me again about those who are still in the exile. We had enough today for this. Yes, but this is the main thing. The main thing is that people need to know that look, the truth is that Ger Toshav is something that is being, we'll say, exactly. This term will be alive fully when the Hebrew people will be in Israel, and we will have also what we call the Shemitah and the Yovel. So at this point of time, we don't have it in a full way, just like we don't have also still the Mount Sinai, Temple Mount, and the other things that we are lacking. But the truth is, on the other side, the Ger Toshav is someone who is fulfilling the 7 commandments, living according to the 7 commandments. God accepted it in front of 3 Hebrew people, and he is living wherever he is in the world. But he is a Ger Toshav. He is a very righteous person.
Rabbi,
Okay. Yes, please. Lara. Yes, you wanted to ask Angelica, please.
can you?
Hey, I just wanted to say one thing.
Oh,
I'm in BC, Canada, and my charity is like, I have a home and it's a safe house. So if any one of you guys want to come here, you do not have to pay. You can come and go to the beach. You can relax here. We can talk Torah. We can do all those things. You don't have to pay to stay here. It is for us to, anyways.
I must say, I can also recommend on this place.
Thank
Believe
you.
me.
That's an extreme level of being kind, I believe.
Yes, thank you very much.
That's epitome of what charity's like.
Okay, please, yes. Who else wanted to ask something or to mention or to say, to state? Not everybody. Everything is fine. If everything is clear, so we can. Okay.
sorry. I just want to ask
please,
something.
From where are you? First of all, from where are you in the world?
I am Baester Blanche. I am from South Africa,
Okay, excellent. Yes.
Which city in South Africa?
a very small city in Sannieshof. It's far from everything. So yeah, I'm joining you from
I worked for a couple of years in South Africa. That's I'm interested. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yes. My question is just I have this big desire, to ultimately make the declaration of the 7 Noahide laws, because actually, in a sense, my dream is to convert fully to Judaism, but it is not reachable at this point in my life because of certain circumstances. But at least I want to step up and do that.
Fair enough. So I think another 2 or 3 weeks we will do another session like that, like we're doing every 2 or 3 weeks, and I will let you know. I will send you all the links so you'll be able to join us for this stage.
Yes.
Fair enough. Excellent.
I have a comment, Rabbi.
Yes, please. Okay, bye. So okay, it's okay.
This is for our new friend from South Africa. Becoming a Noahide is not a step down, and becoming a Jewish is not a step up. It's all pretty much the same. When you put yourself in the service of Hashem, you can do it either way. When you become a Jew, you will join the nation, you will become part of the nation, and you will be, judged by the 613 commandments. But you can stay as a Noahide and fulfill the 7 laws of Noah and still be in Hashem's service. It's not like we are going to be on the bottom level, in the world to come and they're going to be on the higher level. I'm sure they will, because they are suffering a lot more than us. But I wouldn't want you to think is as a step down.
Well said, Lara, for sure. It's
Thank
definitely
you very
not a step
much.
down.
I think, sorry that I interrupt. Thank you very much for that answer. I must say that I don't think being a Noahide is any step up or down. I don't see it that way. I'm just saying that from a non-Jewish person who grew up in a Christian background, I feel it is a step up for me to say, I reject all idolatry, leave it behind, and then focus on the 7 Noahide laws in the meantime. So it's not, if I word myself, please forgive me, but
Yeah, just don't feel you're missing out. Often
No,
we here in the
absolutely.
West, we get people bite on the lure of more, as if more is better somehow, and in many cases, more is not. It's a question of what Hashem has for you and your potential. So you know, if Hashem is drawing you to that, then
Yeah.
Godspeed. If we don't want people out there to feel that it's an obligation, or you know, it can be like a fish hook, like a lure that people bite on, as if somehow more is somehow better. And the problem with that is that there's always room for improvement, and even within the context of the Sheva Mitzvot, there is so much room to grow, so much room to shine light of Torah, if connected properly. Proper connection is really what it's all about. And life lessons can be very, very, very harsh if you're overreaching. And that's just a caveat.
Yeah. No, I understand completely. It's just, I just want to correct it because I don't want to give the impression that it is first a downgrade and then an upgrade. It's not, I think it's all up. No matter where you go, it's all up from where you are. So yeah, that is,
there's loads of
amazing.
wisdom, and I think in the world to come, when we get to bask in Hashem's great wisdom, that's where we want to be, of course. But while we're here, make the most of living life where you're at. And if the opportunities open, if Hashem makes a clear path, it'll be between you and your converting rabbi, who is there to make sure you know you're doing it right. I mean, they want decent folks for conversion. They don't want to disqualify, but they don't want you know, there's nowhere to go from there, and life is different. So make sure you're going in eyes wide open if Hashem opens the path. And if he does not, don't feel a sense of angst or less than, I think is what Lara was trying to get across. And you can be all you were intended to be, and fulfill your potential as a B'nai Noach, for sure.
We saw this earlier a bit in the Maimonides, that the Hebrew nation doesn't think that everybody's supposed to become Hebrew. We saw that a moment ago in the Maimonides. Next week, please read Genesis chapter 31. Let's go back to Genesis a few weeks. Okay, we'll continue on. We're in the middle of Genesis, but we need to finalize it. There are a lot of things that we need to learn there. So next week we're going to learn Genesis chapter 31. Please read it. If you can read it with Rashi, it's also even better. Let's read it. We will learn a lot of things there also.
So that's our homework for the week. Read Genesis 31 to be prepared for next week's class.
I'm a teacher. You need to do homework. And I'm going to check this up with your parents if you did or not.
Rabbi, we appreciate you, and Rabbi Shmuel, thank you so much. As always, we enjoy your input in this session. It means a lot to us, and you always bring wonderful insights. And thank you so much. So, Rabbi, so are we signing off for today?
Yes, yes, of course.
All right, folks. So
Finishing for tonight.
that's
Thank
going to
you
be our
very much.
Genesis class for this week. We will be back next week. Read Genesis 31, and if you can read Rashi in there as well, please do, and be prepared for next week's lesson. I will be back live in about an hour and 20 minutes with Rabbi Carmi Ingber, who's starting on the book of Nehemiah today. He finished up on the book of Ezra last week, and he's bringing it around to modern day events, and he's always open for Q&A afterwards. So it's exciting class with our Working Together series with our friends down in Nativ. So we'll be back in about an hour and 20 minutes with that. So till next week, this has been our Genesis class. Bye for now.